pray for my phone because I'm actually using cat on my phone. We actually have an apple here. We are going to say the prayer and I'm going to eat the photos. Do you agree? Like, this is the most important story of my life. That the way I'm just looking at my camera now and about to tell the story, I'm sure God is going to be like, baby girl, we're telling the story at last. Yeah, Jesus, we're telling the story at last. Hi guys, my name is Teresa and welcome to my YouTube channel. I want to really say a big thank you to everyone that has liked my first video, commented, and all my subscribers. You guys, but I really pray. How do you want your December blessing? Because I really want to pray for you. If you check on my Instagram bio, you're going to see a Christian storyteller. I've met a lot of people that be like, that's interesting, you're a storyteller. You know, I've always loved storytelling. I tell stories. I love to put in the details and I want to tell stories. And that is how I arrived at being a storyteller. And even at this point, I'm on a course to become a certified storyteller. I really never thought that storytelling was a thing. I promise. I didn't know that people telling stories, brand storytellers, video games, storytelling, and all of that. I really didn't know that it existed. But right now, look at me, I'm storytelling. Like, I'm a storyteller. My biggest story today, like, this is the most important story of my life. Honestly, legit. This is the story that have made sense over the years and it has made me who I am. So I really want you guys to stick around. It's like I'm ranting, but I'm just super excited. When I was in secondary school, that's about 2015, I graduated exactly on the 26th. That was my graduation day, July 2015. Because I kept this date because my birthday was on the 29th of that month. So, okay, this story started exactly when I wanted to sit for WAEC. I wasn't such a Christian. I go to church. I'm from a Christian background. My parents are Catholics and they are charismatics. So I actually came from a Christian background. We go to church, everything. We do all of that. But I always go to church. I love going to church. I feel that being in church is somewhere I'd rather go to and all of that. Along the line in secondary school, something happened. All of a sudden, in 2015, I was drawn to the Bible. I've always had the Bible, but I just felt that the place of the Bible was just lay your bed that's on the upper bunk, make sure your bed is arranged, and just put it beside your pillow. I felt that was the place the Bible should be. Keep it nice and neat, make sure it doesn't have a tear, respect it because it's the Word of God. And that was all I knew about the Bible. Or rather, that was all I felt about the Bible. We were about to start WAEC. We were preparing for WAEC at the beginning of the year, JAMB and all of that. While we were preparing, I picked up my Bible and I put it in my school bag. I went to class and this thing that was telling me, oh, you got to finish the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I just felt like, I don't know if I felt like getting that achievement or felt like doing it as a duty. I never knew exactly why I wanted to do it, but I knew that all of a sudden I was interested in studying the Bible from the book of Genesis to Revelation. It just didn't make sense to me that it had to come at this point. So I started, and guess what? Guess what, guys? I started from Genesis chapter 1 and I ended in Genesis chapter 2. That was what happened. That was exactly what happened. I kept the Bible and I was just so drawn to God. Somehow I was becoming conscious. I don't know if it's because I was about to write the exam of my life. I did not know. But all of a sudden, God was telling me, you see, you're not going to do examination malpractice. No way, no how. You're not going to do any of that. So when I felt like, oh, they're going to call me churchy, because that's what they call people that don't do all of this, that try to act like they're church stuff. But I don't know, it was just working inside of me. It was not what I wanted to do. It was just like something was convicting me from the inside. So after all of this, I was still like contemplating, and then now it was time for JAMB. I wrote JAMB and I got 215. Sorry, 215, yeah? I think, yeah, 215 because I was like, I got the year, like it was 215 and I think I got 215 as a JAMB score. So I felt terribly bad and I was like, God, is it with this brain I'm not going to do examination malpractice because I'm not understanding. Anywho, it was time for the exam, and I stick to what God had laid in my heart because I just felt God was close. I don't know why. I just felt He was close and closer and closer and closer every day. So it was exam time, and there was a girl I met in class. Okay, I really feel that if you know her name is Perpetua Mba. She's married now. I could remember I was in A class one day. We were preparing for exam. The seats arrangement had already changed, and I didn't know how I got into a conversation with her. And she made a statement. She was like, "God, if I cry, God cries. If I'm sad, God is sad. And if and there's a way she puts it, and then she was like, so anything that happens to me, God feels it too." And then she said all of that, and I didn't know why I couldn't forget it. It made sense to me, and all of a sudden I just felt that God was really very close to me, and I felt that, oh, if I get hot, like I was hot about my jam score, it means that God is hot too, so God should be doing something about it. Like that was the thought I had, and so it just led me to start to look for God the more, search God the more. I was not reading from Genesis to Revelation, but I was going through the pages of the Bible, hoping to find something that I don't know was missing. Maybe I was just looking for myself now, and myself to be in the future, and I didn't even know that was what I was looking for. But I kept checking the Bible, I kept looking out for God, I kept taking prayer serious, I kept being conscious of the things I did, and that was how school ended for me. I got done with secondary school. We did our graduation. I got a phone, my first phone, on the 29th of July 2015. And when the WAEC result was out, honestly, do you know what I felt? I felt that since I obeyed God, since I did not do examination malpractice, and the feeling I had that God was wooing me. Yeah, I want to use the word woo, just like a guy woos a lady. God was wooing me, and He was calling me into the secret place. I felt like obeying the voice, obeying the fact that He said, don't do malpractice, obeying all of that. I felt, okay, that is enough reason why I should pass my WAEC. And I didn't cheat, and I read enough, and I attempted some questions, and I did a lot of things. So I felt that, God, thank you for giving me the opportunity to pass exam. But guess what? The result came out, and I failed. Yeah. I don't even know what to say. I failed the exam. So I felt that God was not keeping to His words. That's what I felt. But it's God, you know. So I just continued like that. I was still like asking God that, God, I know you could do something. I got a D7 in maths, anything, I don't know. So that was what I got. I got a D7. So I was like, okay, God, I'm going to give you another chance to prove yourself. Anyway, don't mind that I sound like this, but as at then, this is exactly how I sounded. I was like, God, I'm going to give you another chance to prove yourself. So I started looking for a way to register for GCE. In fact, I didn't tell my mom at the beginning, but I later told her, and I think she paid for it. So I started, and at this point, before now, I went to write a post-UTME in UNIZIK, University of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Nigeria. It's in Oka. So I went there and I suffered, bros. I suffered. I walked without slippers, and it was raining, and people were so many. And we went to write the exam, and it didn't even take 10 minutes. After studying past question for the past how many months, it didn't even take 10 minutes to write this exam. And I didn't even know what happened to the computer, whether they turned it on and it turned off by itself. I didn't even understand. So I didn't get a result. Heartbreaking. I was like, God, what are you doing in my life? What are you doing? Tell me at least. If you tell me what you're doing in my life, so I'll be able to like follow you, because I don't know what you are doing. So I used to cry a lot. In fact, I cried every day. So coming back home after the post-UTME, I came home and I wrote an application to a school just about 3 blocks away from my house. So after that, I was called in for an interview. When I went for the interview, because I applied as a janitress, I didn't apply as a teacher, because I was like, what am I going to teach these people? This school is big people school. What am I going to do? So I was like, this school is big people school. What am I going there to go and teach them? So I just applied as a cleaner, since I didn't even have the certificate. So I went for the first interview, and after that, it wasn't so going well. So I went home. I went to sleep. In fact, I felt ill. So that day I was lying down. on the Monday we were supposed to resume work. I told him that daddy, they didn't my dad came to meet me and he was like, Meme, won't you go to the school to at least know what they said? I said they didn't get back to me, they didn't send a message, they didn't send no text, no email, no nothing. So why do I go there? I don't want to be rejected. I hate being told no. I hate someone telling me no. You know. And my daddy told me, stand up, go there, let them tell you no if they don't want you face to face. So when I got there, Duma was like, we've been looking for a way to contact you. Where have you been? You didn't leave a valid number and all of that. That, okay, I should come in. The head of the school is around and he's going to do another interview. So I went in. Okay, we've already written the exams and all of that. So I went in and he asked me a few questions. I just sat down there that day like this and I was like, answer this question. I answer. He asked me some English questions. I'm like, sir, I don't know. But at the tail end of it, he was like, he's impressed and he's going to take me for the job. So instead of the role of a janitress, he gave me the role of an assistant teacher. So that was how I started. This was on the 7th of September 2015. I started the job and I was with them. And I could remember going to school, walking from my house to the school, crying. Because I was like, God, this one has called me up. I'm seeing matriculation videos, matriculation pictures everywhere. People have gone to private universities. People have gotten admission to even the UNIZIC. God, what are you doing with me? So I used to cry every day. And it was just, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know if anybody's looking for admission here or have looked for admission in Nigeria. The stress and all of that, I was always crying. But my boss was so nice, Ahmed was so nice, that was so nice. I just met a lot of people that were so nice to me, and I really say thank you to God for them. So after I had to write YK again. That was the most embarrassing because, okay, I didn't even tell you guys. The NECO after that YK, I failed it. Did you see it? After the NECO, I failed it. I was like, God, I'm not so dumb now. You understand? I'm not dumb. What is happening to me? The next, what are they calling it? The next jam, I wrote it. I got 224. And I was like, God, what is 224 going to give me? I've been saying I want to study medicine. Am I that dumb? What is happening? So I got 224 and I was like, God, so this year is going to pass again. I sat down for WAEC. I was like, let me even pass WAEC. Let us be waiting for admission. I sat down for WAEC in another school. And in that school, I'm not going to call the name of the school, but they were collecting money for malpractice. And at this point, I could afford it because I was working. And God was still telling me. I didn't even know how I started hearing God, because I don't know. When it comes to warning, it's very clear. But when it comes to something that I want to hear, God, what are you doing with me now? I will not hear. But God is like, see, guy, babe, you're not going to do this malpractice. So I could remember they were collecting money, and I looked this man in the eyes, and I told him, sir, I cannot pay. And he looked at me and was like, your daddy has the money, and aside that, you have the money. So why won't you pay? I was like, sir, I'm not going to pay. So I said, sir, I'm not gonna pay because I don't want God to flow me through. So after that, we continued, and I could remember the day we were to write maths that I'm having issues with. A woman came, and she was the supervisor of the exam, an external invigilator. So while we were writing the exam, she started picking people that had papers that were given to them from external sources, and she kept seizing it. And when she came to my turn, she just met me and she was like, give me the paper. And I was like, ma, which paper? So one of the lecturer, one of the person, the staff there knows the woman personally. Was like, man, this girl doesn't take. So passed my WAEC because the lady gave me an extra time and all of that. So I passed my WAEC that year, and I was so grateful to God. So going back to my job and everything, I continued. It was like I got to a place where I told God that, God, I love you so much. I don't care. I started getting interested to what school do you even want me to go to? What do you want for my life? So that was where I was. And I was telling God that, see, God, even if you give me this admission this year or not, because I already felt that I wouldn't get admission that year because my JAMB score was a mess and I don't even have hope for post-UTME. Because I don't know, I have this phobia for general exams. I just feel like I do not do well in general exams. So after all of that, God I came to a place where I told God that, God, I do not care about this admission. It's not because of this admission that I want you. I've got to learn of you. I've got to feel you so close to me. I've got to understand that there is a life ahead of me in you, and I'm willing to explore that life. So God, whatever you want for my life, I am open to you. I just want this relationship with you. So I got to a place where through that 1 year, I met people that helped me. You know, basically before any of these, there's something I usually struggle with. I struggle with immoral thoughts in my head. So gradually, I started meeting people, I started studying the Bible, and I was healing. I was loving myself more. I wasn't angry at people for nothing. As in, my life was changing from the inside, and I was just all on God. God was bringing me closer. God was telling me there was a lot for me. God was telling me that there is a lot for me, like my life, a lot of things that He had in stock for me. So I continued, and I was not speaking in tongues. So just so you know, I was not speaking in tongues, but I was in a place where I knew I was saved. I knew that Christ was in me. God, as in, my whole life changed during that 1 year. And towards the end of the 1 year, that was when the next set was about to go into school. I did application. I applied though. But after applying that, I did not have any special hope that I was going to get anything. You understand? So what happened was that one day I was in school, and Daddy called me and he was like, "Hello, Beme, can you come home now? There's an application I want you to fill." So I went home. And when I got home, I got to fill this application for this new school. Okay, not a new school actually. It's a new school though, but it was just opening the engineering department, and it needed people to apply in that engineering department, even if you did not apply for them in JAM. So it was an opportunity for me. I applied for chemical engineering. So going into the school for the screening, because as if God knows His daughter very well, as the post-CME time was coming close, they just scrapped post-CME for that year. And I was able to just go for the screening. And when I got there, the man said, "Sis, you can't get admission. You did not write maths. So why did you apply for engineering?" I was just staring like, and he was like, "Okay, I'm going to give you the list of all the courses in this school and make a choice. Choose anything." Oh my God, this is how good God is. So I said, okay, I checked chemistry. I said, "Not on your life. I'm not doing those structural things anymore." I said, "Biology, I've done it in secondary school." Those are can you imagine my choice, my criteria? So, and then I said, "Microbiology. It looks like micro. It would be nice to start calling organism names, like Staphylococcus aureus, Streptococcus pyogenes, and all of that, Clostridium, all of that. It would just be nice to be calling them." So I said, okay, I'm going for microbiology. And I got the admission just like that. So going into school, I knew I was going to school with God, and I had this idea that I am an ambassador of God. Just somehow, since I carry Him, I just believe that there are certain things I could not do, which if I had gone to school without staying that 1 year at home that opened my life to what God wants me to do, I will make so many wrong decisions in school. I promise. I will make so many wrong decisions in school. So I knew that God was holding me back for that 1 year, for me to get a lot of things, a lot of thoughts, a lot of empowerment before facing university life. And that's one thing I'm grateful to God. Your life can be interrupted. Your life might be interrupted. Maybe your life is interrupted at the moment. Anyway, I'm just trying to tell you that God interrupts the life of people He loves. And maybe He has seen danger in the front. Maybe He has seen some obstacles that's going to affect your life with Him. And He's trying to tell you, see, you need to calm down. And at this point, take a chill, because we are working together. This is my salvation story. This is the way I met God. It was not a one-day thing. It was a gradual process. It was happening every day, and I was following every day. He was coming to knock on the door of this heart every day and all of that. So it was a gradual process that God was taking me through the important part of my life, which is the part of knowing Him and loving Him. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video. It might just be a blessing to someone. Someone might be in my 1 year